How's it going, Brendan? How's it going, team? Everyone well? Happy Friday.
I'm very well, thank you. Thank you for having me. Hope you're good.
All good. Obviously, over London, big news with the Queen sadly passing yesterday. So it's been quite epic to see, I guess, the response in London, and I guess the news waves ripple around the world. Probably the most famous family, I guess, in the world, or one of.
Well, I'm actually Australian, so I kind of understand. Yesterday I was in the middle of a roundtable discussion when the host actually interrupted us and told us of the unfortunate news. So we are quite saddened. And, all of our currency, our fiat currency in Australia is obviously printed with the Queen's face. So it's going to be interesting to see what's next.
100%. I'm just inviting everyone up to speak. Who's supposed to be on the panel? Arcade Galaxy. Who have we got from Arcade Galaxy on the line?
We got Nick here, and then Christina's also going to be on her other account too. She'll be on here in a sec, and oh yeah, there she is.
Invite her up to speak. Just let me know if my Wi-Fi ever goes at any point. It's been playing up a bit today. There's been some storms coming across London, which is causing a bit of havoc. Which is one way to bring down the Twitter Spaces, unfortunately. Christina, how's it going?
Good morning, everyone, or good afternoon.
Where are you based?
I'm in California, in the States.
Very nice indeed. We've also got
Christine, long time no see.
Hey, Brandon. Brandon's also one of our investors and supporters.
Good stuff. It's always good to see familiar faces up here. Okay, cool. So it's obviously 3 minutes. We'll start jumping into it. I don't know if it's always sometimes helpful just to kick off. We'll do a round of quick introductions, chance to just give like a 30-second update on your project, and then we can jump into some of the questions. We've got an hour to chat on GameFi, a bit about GameFi, a bit about Avalanche and GameFi. There's some interesting stuff going on there. And we'll work through 5 or 6 questions. Happy to take some audience participation at the end. Unfortunately, I've got a hard stop at 6 p.m. in UK, so bringing all the alpha energy vibes straight up. There's no warm up. We're jumping straight in. So let's do a quick round of intros and then jump straight into it. GameFi, you're the next one on the list. So I don't know if you want to say hi. Good. Give a quick intro, and then we can move around the team.
Hey guys, this is Kai from GameFi Daily, and yeah, really glad to be here to join the GameFi panel.
Thanks so much. Nick, do you want to just give a quick intro to Arcade Galaxy?
Yeah, sure. Hi guys, I'm Nick. I'm the CMO at Arcade Galaxy, and if you're just joining us on our development journey, Arcade Galaxy is an online multiplayer gaming platform that aims to empower both players and creators with a suite of exciting tools and modes.
Do you want to just give a quick intro to Arcade Galaxy?
Yeah, sure. Hi guys, I'm Nick. I'm the CMO at Arcade Galaxy, and if you're just joining us on our development journey, Arcade Galaxy is an online multiplayer gaming platform that aims to empower both players and creators with a suite of exciting tools and modes inspired by a bunch of our favorite games. Our first game is Mario Kart, and we will be supporting like a next-gen in-game economy that rewards users through community ownership. You can publish content, compete in tournaments, and create a identity in the universe that's all about fun and games. And we are actually welcoming people to our alpha testing sign-up for our game. We're very close to having an alpha beta for people to play. So if you want to check that out on our Twitter, you can sign up there, and we're going to be closing out our alpha sign up on Sunday night.
Love it. Super excited for that. I just went to an arcade this week and got my Mario Kart skills handed to me on the GameCube, unfortunately. So a bit of practicing up, maybe a hop week, and got my Mario Kart skills handed to me on the GameCube, unfortunately. So a bit of practicing up, maybe I hop on into the alpha testing. We've also got Christina from Arcade Galaxy as well, so they're coming in as a double team. double the trouble, double the fun. So that's awesome. Vrumble, how's it going? Could I also have a name? I'd like to get a good name rather than call you Vrumble, if that's okay. It could be a pseudonym, whatever floats your boat. We're in Web3.
We are totally doxed. I'm Erin. I'm head of operations at Tisuji, and Benji, who is our CEO, is in the audience, and I hope maybe you could bring him up. He'll be my double trouble up here on stage and kind of be the one talking today. But yeah, I'm Erin, and I'm the head of operations at Tisuji Games, which is the company behind Rumble, and we're actually evolving an app we started building about 4 years ago into the Web3 space, and it is a group video chat and live streaming esports game show platform for the NFT already. We do have our own native characters, but our whole vision is bringing people's wallets to life and adding utility and a way that they can anoint their NFTs with methodology we created from many blockchains and then battle them in our mobile app and in our games. So, and this is Benji, our CEO.
Hey everybody, morning, afternoon, evening, maybe. Thanks for having us here today, just to chat about GameFi and all that. We've been working pretty hard on Rumble past 4 years, and now specifically for the last 12 months, really pivoting Rumble to be a Web3 game. So yeah, you can take your NFTs, give them mystical powers, battle them in our series of mini games that we have on mobile, video chatting the whole time, and live streaming. So it's kind of like an esports thing. We got leaderboards you can climb. We have tournaments that you can participate in. So pretty hyped about it. We're getting really close to launch of our private beta. So yeah, just excited to talk about it. You can always go to rumble.io to check out things you can do with your NFTs right now, with your Rumblers right now, which is sparring in the dojo, crystallization. There's a few other fun things that you can do within our website. So check that out. But also the mobile app's coming real soon.
Nice. 4 years is like a decade in crypto. So it'd be good to see your perspective of like the pivot, what interests you, and I guess some of the difficulties and the excitement. So good to get that wisdom from you guys later on in the show. So really excited for that. I think Heroes of NFT are still just trying to join. So we've got TimeShuffle last up. They are also co-hosts. So how's it going? Who have we got on the account?
Hello guys, I'm Michelangelo. Nice to meet you all. We met already, SparkWorld. I've been also collaborating with you guys. I've been beta testing your interface.
Oh,
how are you doing?
Well, great to have you on. Hopefully you find getting all those bugs out, getting pumped for the mainnet launch, which is coming shortly. A few bugs being ironed out as we speak, but coming weeks we should be coming to a full platform launch, which is super exciting. And yeah, I think we're single-handedly responsible for coffee prices going up right now. So it's working around the clock, as I'm sure we've got a lot of people on the call and panel are. Nice. So let's jump into it then. Heroes of NFT, I think we'll jump in. I sent them an invite, so they'll just join as and when. So let's kick us off with, I guess, maybe an introduction to like people's experience in the gaming industry. When did people get into the industry? Was it pre-Web3? Have we got some people who've seen kind of transitions from like PlayStation to free to play to mobile to onto Web3? Does anyone want to jump in first? Be brave.
I'll be brave. So I'm Brendan, co-founder of Avocado DAO. Bit about gaming, my own gaming experience prior to making the guild. I've been gaming since Windows 3.14. Like I remember sharing a keyboard with my brother, wherever you try and press too many keys at the same time, it doesn't work. And also I was there for the first World of Warcraft vanilla release. I was a guild leader back then as well. We had the largest guild in the server, 200 members, and this was before Molten Core was launched. We were first to actually raid Ragnaros when Molten Core came out, and you needed 40 players to do that. I've been in the metaverse ever since I was in high school, frankly speaking. To me, the metaverse is it's all around us. It's not something brand new. It's just even sending your friends a message on Messenger, that's a metaverse. But as technology allows and as we expand, all these new technologies allow us to increase our engagement in the metaverse with our friends. And through deeper engagement, we're able to make new friends as well. I've watched the space kind of grow and change. Even before color mobiles and when everyone was using a brick. And nowadays, the mobile gaming market's ginormous. Diablo recently, I think, posted that their mobile version game was earning, what, 100 million in 2-3 months. Absolutely insane. We live in a time nowadays where we have multiple genres of different games, giant gaming conglomerates from all over the world. We see hardcore competitive gamers on PC. We see hardcore competitive gamers on console. And we also see a lot of new kind of like casual and hyper casual players coming on mobile. And it's interesting to see that all of these are able to function together and make a lot of money. So when I look at Web3 blockchain as a technology, as opposed to the term play and earn, play to earn, or win to earn, anything to do with earn, if I look at it as a tech, I just think, man, there's nothing that exists with this right now, and it's definitely going to be the next biggest thing.
Yeah, awesome overview. Some good from there, and love to hear about your gaming journey, and definitely think that there's some exciting roads ahead with the Web3 and blockchain technology coming in. From playing myself, and I think like RuneScape, I think a lot of people in crypto at the moment played a lot of RuneScape. I remember how much value I put in that blue pass out when I got it. I think it's like 500 million coins or something. So definitely digital collectibles and digital economies, it makes a lot of sense. So thanks so much for that, Brendan. Anyone else want to jump in?
Yeah, this is Benji. I can kind of hop in. I mean, from the youth of myself, I started making video games in 7th grade when I was on my dad's Amiga. So from there to now, it's changed so much. The real fascination I think I got was when I first started playing, Zelda, and then on the NES, and then coming through that to then 64, and then to higher level consoles. It's just been really crazy to kind of see the fidelity of games and experiences kind of improving and increasing in such a crazy way, but at the same time, like the core fun level. I remember when certain God games came out in like Black and White and such came out in the aughts, and just like, or sport, or like they're just like games that came out that kind of turned the game design idea on its head, experiences that you never had to have before. And just the fact that it could be pretty, low fidelity, but still be super badass to play and fun. And then of course, when mobile games came around, because the iPhone popped out and then we had Android phones and such, just like that explosion of experience, and just the ability to have something fun in your hand at all times, using, GPS, using data, using, ability to have real-time 3D graphics all on your phone. It's just kind of mind-blowing. And we saw that in the revenues that were generated. So I think now with, the stuff coming out with Web3, the experiences that people are going to be building, the new economic models that people are kind of playing around with, it's a new wave that we're now experiencing. And that's kind of why we got into it, why I got into it, back in 2016. I had started doing my, first investments in Ethereum, got it at like $7 a unit, then watching it kind of go from there. And just what you can do with the programmable blockchain is kind of crazy. And tool chains nowadays, the last like 6 months have really started to mature so that we can actually start building experiences that players can play and have fun with, and are not super blocked by just the friction that is a bad tool chain. So I think the next, 6 months, the next, year and a half is going to be pretty wild for gaming, and specific around, the economic models that people can come up with. So pretty excited about it. Looking forward to what people come up with, and the quality that will be coming out of that.
Yeah, I think excellent overview. Nice to hear your experience, because it definitely adds some context when we're jumping into more conversations later. So appreciate that. Anyone else? 3 or 4 minutes left on this section. Love people to jump in, give some context on their gaming backgrounds.
Yeah, I was involved with Minecraft server development ever since like the age of 12. So that was kind of like how I got into the gaming industry. I ran a successful Minecraft server called Paradise MC for 10 years, which consisted of a lot of different mini games. Funny enough, because we're Arcade Galaxy, and a lot of the inspiration that we're drawing for some of our games actually I had on my Minecraft at the time. But yeah, we had over 1 million unique joins on the Minecraft server, ran it for about 10 years, and was really just involved in building a community of people who were always, everyone kind of like had their back, and I just kind of like the community like feel that the gaming industry had to offer. And we started accepting crypto payments on our server in 2016, and that's kind of what got me into the cryptoverse and just learning about everything that it has to offer. And to see, where it's where it's at now is just absolutely mind-blowing. I never really thought it would get this big, but I'm excited to be a part of this full-time now. And yeah, it's a little background on me.
Yeah, awesome. Early Minecraft days were definitely the one, very exciting, and very kind of apt for, I think, the Web3 kind of evolution. It was a lot of community-based stuff, people creating, having fun, and I think a lot of those core sort of characteristics definitely filter through into what's happening in Web3. TimeShuffle, got your hand up. I like that. Key, energy. Friday afternoon, here we go.
Yeah, I feel old, guys. Does anyone know something about Ultima Online? No one's?
Yeah, I've
Oh,
heard
yeah,
of
for sure.
Ultima.
Okay, I'm not the only one then, because I learned English on that thing, not only gaming. Was one of the first pioneers MMORPG online, and I was a kid, and I literally learned more English by playing that game than by going in the school, literally.
I hope you learned proper English as opposed to abusive gamer English.
Oh yeah, no. Those days were amazing, guys, because the flaming was still not a thing. Actually, there were campers, of course, the people that used to bug abuse and spawn kill the noobs, this kind of stuff. But the flame and the bad attitude that you can find today in chats was not really a thing back in those days. Amazing days, amazing days.
No, you learn English, but funnily enough, it was actually through MMORPGs that I learned to type really, really quickly while flaming other people. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, the typing is a big one for sure. Awesome. So super nice of you to get that of the panel. I think the next question is one that's probably quite key, is just understanding what people think the biggest blocker to GameFi adoption to be. And there's quite a few sort of large ones, but I was wondering to get people's opinion on that. Jump in, Michael.
Yeah, I want to say a couple of things on this because I'm experiencing it's actually my personal thought on this. I personally think that blockchain gaming has a huge potential. It can be, and this, I have to measure my words and I have to actually go deeper into what I mean. I think it needs to be the evolution of microtransaction gaming. What do I mean with this? I don't mean that we have to move the microtransaction on the blockchain. I don't mean this. But I mean another thing. Using play to earn words or, yes, sentences, stuff like that, concepts. Or, gravitating in around the concept of play and earn. I don't think it's a healthy thing for the environment. Because any person that likes games, we have to divide the people in two different groups. The real gamers that enjoy the games and the people that are there to buy an NFT and they consider it an asset. There are two different worlds. So if you focus on your gamers, the game needs to be a game 100%. It can be something in between. All right? So some people will have game expectation and some people will have asset expectation. This is something that I experience right now in the world, in the space, and I find that it's an issue that we have to solve because it actually divides the community that every project can have by having these two different kind of players, of community members. All right. So I think that the economy of the game should be, yes, focused on having a play and earn mechanics and tokenomics and environment, but I still think that the main topic should be the gameplay, the game content, the storytelling, the visual, and the soundtrack, and all those aspects that makes a great game.
Hey, Michael, I'd just like to jump in and say, I'd be brave enough to say that I agree with you, but at the same time, I disagree with you. I agree with you that a game needs to be fun. And at the same time, I also agree with you that the lore and the content and the game experience should be very fun. That's the whole purpose of something being a game. You enjoy it when you play it. Having that said, we live in a world where there are multiple genres of games. Some people don't need a story. Like if you look at Counter-Strike, who cares about like defusing the bomb or setting up a bomb? Like the story doesn't matter. If you look at a lot of roguelike games, the stories don't matter. But for some people, even like myself, I love RPG games. The story, the lore is everything to me. But the current space of the Web3, we don't know kind of works. We know what kind of did work a little bit, and that's all we know. We're trying to solve these maths equations without really understanding. Like we're playing in a battlefield with fog of war turned on. In my mind, it's not so much as play to earn cannot work or play and earn cannot work. None of that really matters. It's just the term. In the end of the day, we're working in a space called GameFi. Why? Because it's a game and it in some form of finance. Because everyone's been raising money with the tokens and they're building use cases for the tokens. Some form of value accrual must also go back to the tokens. So as a simple example to back my reasoning, if we look at World of Warcraft from then till now, it's a game that's so fun. People go on and play with their friends and they make new friends and form great communities. They pay to play this game. They pay every single month to play this game. It was basically the founder of monthly subscription pay model for MMORPGs, and everyone paid. But at the time, when you left and you decided you didn't want to play anymore, you could illegally sell your account. Someone out there would put a value on the work that you've done, and they'll buy that account off you because they don't want to spend 2 weeks or 2 years trying to build up to a level 80 paladin or something. And at the same time, while all of this was happening, and there was heaps of people enjoying the experience, there was a whole bunch of other players that was farming the gold. To these guys, they were just farming gold every day. They knew the best spots to farm 1,000 gold, and they'll sell it back $18. And somehow, even though the game frowned upon all of this, that economy kind of worked where those that wanted to play could play, and those that wanted to, I don't know, work in the digital world, they could as well. Obviously, that is a very nascent kind of explanation of the very first generation of digital economies bridging into the real world. But now with blockchain technology, you can actually facilitate all of these things in a transparent manner and in a way where the value accrual goes back to the actual community. If we follow the scope of what happens in the real world, where content creators are beginning to own the content. So just throw my 2 cents out there.
Yeah, I fully, sorry, I jump in for a second. Actually, I agree with what you were disagreeing with me, because of course, soundtrack and lore, it depends on the game genre that you are developing. And I agree on a full extent also to what you say about World of Warcraft. Let's also not forget that, I know it sounds incredible and I don't know how many people knows about it, but before Bitcoin was, let's say, a legal tender, more or less around the world, when it still was considered a scam, let's say like that, before the bank time, before the Wall Street time, World of Warcraft auction house and economy system was one of the way around the world to exchange Bitcoin online. So I also have to give credit to the economy system that they created, because it actually worked pretty nicely. They have hundreds of servers, and each server have a different size in population of alliance and hordes. This will mean that certain materials and objects will be more scarce or less scarce. And in each server as you go, for the same item, you will find different prices according to supply and demand, which is amazing, guys. I mean, it's actually, it's amazing. They created a virtual economy inside the game.
Yeah, 100%. I think part of it is definitely the scope of which that game's created at, and like the level of intricacy that goes into the economy that we're still yet to like really crack in how it's been attacked. I think maybe when there's like it's open that the assets are on the blockchain and it's clearer to, you know, all of the selling of the gold and these sorts of pieces happens more off the game, was when there's people are focused at just like really, really high level focus that's like extracting as much value as possible. That's where it can sometimes get into a bit of trouble. But loved your speech on that, Brendan. It's really spot on, in my opinion. Anyone else want to chime in on what they think the biggest block is, or expand on that point?
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Brandon and TimeShuffle for the sharing. So, I agree most of what you just talked about. And yeah, the thing is that, you just sharing, you were sharing your like Web 2 and Web 3 gaming experience. The question is that there are more traditional gaming studios in this Web 3 space, and if we look at the fundraising events back in for the previous 3 quarters, most of the fundraising actually went to gaming companies that actually have this very strong traditional gaming developing background. So I mean, back in 2021, most of the GameFi projects or play to earn gaming were actually developed by the Web3 natives, and right now I think it's quite a different scenario. And yeah, I mean, just recently the Limit Break got founded by I think it's Paradigm, I think, and I mean, yeah, we had a lot of talk about like tokenomics or in-game economy, and at the end of
it's actually it's amazing. They created a virtual economy inside the game.
Yeah, 100%. I think part of it is definitely the scope of which that game's created at, and like the level of intricacy that goes into the economy that we're still yet to like really crack in how it's been attacked. I think maybe when there's like it's open that the assets are on the blockchain and it's clearer to, you know, all of the selling of the gold and these sorts of pieces happens more off the game, was when there's people focused on just like really, really high level focus that's like extracting as much value as possible. That's where it can sometimes get into a bit of trouble. But loved your speech on that, Brendan. It's really spot on, in my opinion. Anyone else want to chime in on what they think the biggest block is, or expand on that point?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, thank you, Brandon and TimeShuffle for the sharing. So, yeah, I agree most of what you just talked about. And yeah, the thing is that yeah, you just sharing you were sharing your like Web2 and Web3 gaming experience. The question is that there are more traditional gaming studios in this Web3 space, and if we look at the fundraising events back in for the previous 3 quarters, most of the fundraising actually went to gaming companies that actually have this very strong traditional gaming developing background. So I mean, back in 2021, most of the GameFi projects or play to earn gaming were actually developed by the Web3 natives, and right now I think it's quite a different scenario. And yeah, I mean, just recently the Limit Break got founded by I think it's Paradigm, I think, and I mean, yeah, we had a lot of talk about like tokenomics or in-game economy, and at the end of the day, we have to land on the topic like how can we onboard more traditional gamers into this space. I think most of the projects are facing this challenge because they have this problem dealing with like their business development and their daily operation as well as community growth. So this is a question that yeah, I would like to propose, and yeah, feel free to talk about your personal opinion on this.
Spark and GameFi, I'd just like to add, it's very difficult to kind of narrow down one thing that's particularly wrong with the situation. Yet at the same time, it's unfair at the same time to kind of nitpick on particular people for attempting. Obviously, like the earlier game models had their flaws, but those game models brought a lot of attention to this space. They also brought a lot of money to the space. And during this cycle, a lot of proper game developers and retail market got attracted, and they decided, you know what, we can actually build something on top of this brand new technology that I believe my children will grow up embracing. However, to build a game like the one I quoted, World of Warcraft, it takes years, hundreds, thousands of developers, marketing teams, hundreds of millions spent on marketing. That's just not something we have in Web3 right now. Most of the games in Web3 are quite bootstrapped. There are a lot of like good game developers trying to make it work, believing that the space is the future, like Christine, which Avocado invested in. And unfortunately, from time to time, there are also other people that feel that it's really easy to kind of raise money, and they just want to come in and raise the money with no idea of what they're really trying to do. And you don't want to let one or two bad actors ruin it. But in every single cycle of development, any type of new technology that comes out, it's normal that this kind of thing happens. There will be a lot of money coming in. There will be bad actors. People get weeded out. But over time, more and more money comes in, more regulation comes in, more real builders come in, and through time, maybe 3, maybe 4, maybe 5 years, they will build products that deliver the primary value of games entertainment. And that's something that we're kind of looking forward to. And as a guild and as other builders, I believe it's our responsibility to educate everyone that's coming into the landscape by providing transparency on how things have worked but may not necessarily work in future. And only through working together are we able to build a more decentralized playing field for game developers where indie studios have a chance, yet at the same time embrace the fact that the larger studios will bring eyeballs and retail users into our space. And as a guild, what we evolved from lending NFTs to users in Southeast Asia to kind of just have a chance of earning something that can help them in their life during COVID. Okay, that's really what it was. We could lend NFTs at a time that help these guys make a bit of money, support the family when the country wasn't letting them work, and at the same time embrace a technology that I personally believe is here to stay. And through that evolution, a guild has now become a vessel, chance of earning something that can help them in their life during COVID. Okay, that's really what it was. We could lend NFTs at a time that help these guys make a bit of money, support the family when the country wasn't letting them work, and at the same time embrace a technology that I personally believe is here to stay. And through that evolution, a guild has now become a vessel that helps onboard users from Web2 into Web3. We provide safety, and we want to make sure that they're not tricked, but at the same time, we want to nurture the first generation of Web3 users.
Yeah, really nicely put. We got Heroes of NFT just jumping on. Great to have you guys on. How's it going? Have you got Mima or Caesar on the end there?
Yeah, I am Caesar. Sorry for late participating. I could not find a proper internet, so I just came very late. But I hope that wouldn't be a problem for all.
No problem. Great to have you, Caesar. Always a pleasure.
Thank you so much. Actually, from the discussion, what can I add is that I believe that GameFi is trying to find its soul, let's say. What we are trying is that actually we are witnessing an experimental process in GameFi because there is no such a experience that this ecosystem have right now. And as the early comers, we are trying to build a new thing which, let's say, take its root from Web2 gaming, but it has its original part, its unique part. So there are many projects that fails current. It seems that there are also many projects that are continuing to build, like, for example, our partner is TimeShuffle is also here. Also, there are different projects right now here continuing to build. I believe that it's a very new experiment for GameFi projects. And right now, I believe that we are finding our soul. And how can I add anything? And I believe that in the near future, and especially for the in the next bull market, we will find how to properly prepare and manage a GameFi ecosystem, and we will, I believe, prevail in the near future.
Yeah, thanks for that, Caesar. I mean, I definitely think it's nice to see TimeShuffle, Heroes of NFT collaborating. I think sometimes there's a little bit of unneeded animosity between like other GameFi projects and people happy when one or two GameFi projects don't succeed. Because Brendan said, you know, they're paving the way. I think people sometimes squabbling over a smaller part of the pie rather than there's going to be plenty of market share to go around of where the trajectory is going in 2, 3, 4, 5 years. So I think there's plenty of stuff to go
Spark,
about.
as a guild, a lot of people ask us, what do you think of like the other guild? Are you guys competitors? Are you this? Are you that? My answer from the very beginning was we are not competitors. I mean, it's important as a business you have a business model. During the time when Axie was taking off, there was more than enough scholars to go around. There just wasn't enough assets, which is what kind of catapulted guilds into existence. But in the end of the day, if you look at fundamentally what a guild does is we hold people's hands, onboard them into Web. And unfortunately, there are no Web3 protocols that can do that because it requires a bit of a human touch. imagine trying to teach your mum and dad, to get onboarded into using decentralized exchanges and MetaMask. Like, imagine how difficult that would be. And what we try to do is educate the newest generation to come on board. And as guilds, I think we actually all work together in a way to do that. And I think everyone here, all of these roundtables and AMAs, these talks, all of us builders getting together, game developers, guilds, I think it's very important that we share our knowledge and redirect each other in the right way, so that we are actually able to sustainably build a better future for this industry.
100%. And I guess just adding on to the end of that, do we think that like in this panel, like the big breakthroughs are going to be Web2 games kind of pivoting into Web3, or do we think it's going to be like a Web3 name? I think maybe like Benji, it would be good to get your perspective on the pivot. Is it like a World of Warcraft going to turn around and say, we're making our in-game economy like fully blockchain integrated, or do we think it's going to be something that's going to be born out like an Axie or an Illuvium, etc.?
Yeah. I mean, kind of to your last point, I think I'll address that one too, but one of the blockers that maybe we still have is just the tool chains are still a little tough. Like it's still pretty complicated to get into the mix. And so that's where I think, like, especially on mobile games, like if we can start leveraging in-app purchases and kind of get rid of all the crypto wallet stuff that you have to do to get onboarded, I think that's where we'll get a lot of the newbies that are not super crypto native to be able to start playing the games. And so to that point, I think, a lot of companies that are maybe Web 2 that want to take advantage of a player-owned, item economy and leverage the transparency that is the blockchain, or just let that be handled by, a blockchain instead of them doing it internally, handling the, escrow of assets, the payout of assets, the ability to transfer assets, and letting the blockchain kind of handle that. I think that's really attractive to a lot of companies, but I think they also see the friction that is there with the current tools that we have. And so as these bigger game development companies, I think they're probably just working hard at building their own tooling to make that more of a opaque experience that just kind of happens magically for their players, but underlying it, leverages the blockchain. That's where like on Avalanche utilizing subnets, there's some big companies out there building out on their own subnets just so that they can leverage the blockchain technology to kind of handle that transactional system, so they don't have to build it themselves. But those companies are also building their own kind of middleware tools so that they can then integrate and interact with the blockchain, but have the players just be able to press like an awesome, easy button and make that happen. So I think that's where they're going to be heading. I think there is a little bit of fear on kind of some of the open-ended economy stuff that can potentially happen. So I think some companies are being really mindful about what they open up to kind of more open-ended blockchain economies in relation to the assets that they produce for their games. And I think it's smart to be mindful about that, because if you lose the control of the levers of your economy, then sometimes that can really screw up the metagame balance that you have within your game that makes it fun. And so I think companies are also thinking deeply about that, because if you start going into this more open blockchain thing where people can buy and sell and trade, they can leverage liquidity pools, they can go on exchanges and trade tokens, you can potentially have a misbalance of the game economy that you as the game didn't really plan for. So I think those are all the things that maybe these companies are thinking about and going for, but definitely I think it's an attractive space, and they see it as a new way for players to really maintain their engagement for a long time within this game, the game world that the builders are making.
I completely agree with you. Just wanted to say, Benji, that was good.
Yeah, I think it's really spot on, because they're definitely looking at it as like, is it a first bird gets the worm kind of thing, or is it a second mouse gets the cheese? And I think on the second mouse getting the cheese, with the losses involved of like financial losses for gamers, it's a huge reputational risk. If you built a Web2 brand, it's worth hundreds of millions. So big up the second mouse.
Spark, you were saying, like every time something fails, you burn a lot of retail, you burn a lot of VCs, you burn a lot of investors. But then when we think back about, for example, Tesla was on the brink of failure before they became successful. And Tesla wasn't the first to approach building an electric car either. By the way, Benji, in regards to the larger game studios coming into this space, I agree with like majority of what you've said. But I think a lot of these studios, based on my conversations with them, they're not looking at something as simple as just building infrastructure or tooling for games. They're literally looking at building their own ecosystems. Like I do believe a lot of the ecosystems and the networks right now have issues catering for games because it wasn't planned, like it wasn't developed for that use case. But then with these new larger companies coming in, I'm not sure at the same time whether they kind of embrace the true value of like decentralization and really leverage off what blockchain means to a lot of gamers at the same time. And I know that this isn't adding too much value, but just based on my conversations with them, I wanted to share that.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with you. I don't necessarily think that these game companies are super pro decentralization. I think they mainly want to look at the blockchain as like a fulfillment layer for player-owned assets that makes it easier, and so they don't have to build that as much themselves, and it's proven technology. I don't think
it's understandable.
Yeah.
It's understandable because like a lot of these guys own so much IP that they've built like over time. It's difficult for them to somehow find a way to butcher these IP and decentralize it. But at the same time, I think more and more layer ones and scaling solutions will start to come into the market. Same as with the subnets. And this does provide very good opportunity for indie game developers who traditionally have no other means of kind of distributing their creative products other than through Steam or App Store or Google Store, where those centralized entities really control you. Like the reason why I came into GameFi, the reason why I came into blockchain is because at its current state, it gives so many opportunities to individuals. It's basically a barren land where you have a chance of becoming, building something that can leave a legacy.
Indeed, we are in the homestead state, like the phase right now. Everyone's placing their stake out in the frontier. That's definitely where we're at. And to the decentralized point, like, I mean, as these game companies, they see markets, on mobile, they see markets on PC, they see markets on console. And so the web-only market, the place where you can truly only be decentralized, where, you deploy a smart contract and you have a front-end web app that, directly, talks with the smart contract. That's where you can truly build decentralized experiences. Otherwise, you're building something with a middleware, or you're building something with a back-end system that could fall over or not be functional. It's interesting to see maybe where those bigger companies are focused. They're not really going for that fully decentralized game experience. They're just kind of trying to find some methodology that they can leverage blockchain to make their economy potentially more fluid. Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, and I think one point that a couple of conversations back, Benji, that we glossed over is the being Web3 native. It took the UK government 20 years to get people wearing seatbelts and a legal law to do it, let alone get someone using MetaMask or Phantom Wallet or whatever chain you're on. So that's definitely education I see as a huge blocker there. So it's not a quick fix to get people using those sort of browser wallets or hardware wallets on top of that. Okay, so I guess in terms of the education, I don't know if people are seeing stuff they like. I don't know if they've seen anything that is helping to really accelerate some of like the blockchain GameFi and how much is going on there. But I definitely think that's a key blocker, and I don't know how much is actually going on right now other than in pockets.
So at Avocado Guild and in some of the other guilds, we're building tools that will help us onboard users. We're building products that will reward those that contribute, but at the same time become educated and learn about the technology. If we look at Animoca Brands, they recently acquired TinyTap for $40 million. And I think that's a Tel Aviv educational platform that's Web 2, but they're moving into Web 3. Like there's so many layers of education that's required. You want to educate the older generation that have funds that will build the laws and all that, but at the same time you want to educate the new generation. The kids are now growing up asking their parents for money to buy NFTs, and as a guild we try our best to do what we can based on the base layer of what's available in the gaming space. And for example, in Australia, like where I come from in Australia, they already got a pretty big gig economy going on. Like there are Web2 platform apps where you can hire people to do things for you, from mowing your lawn to walking your dog. And in my mind, this kind of transition, it may sound a bit far-fetched now, but give it a couple of years. I don't think, why is it strange that people own digital assets and then, maybe require someone to walk their digital dog? I don't know. Like, why not? Like, nothing surprises me these days.
Definitely.
Definitely. Awesome. I mean, just a quick moment to say, like, is there anything that people have got their eyes on in terms of games coming out, developments, big events, catalysts coming up for the ecosystem? Chance also to Shield, if you've got a mint coming up, please feel free to jump in with anything like our audience or our community should keep an eye on.
Yeah, I saw something recently that was pretty compelling to me. It's a company, Paper.xyz, and they came out with a kind of a wallet, like an easy wallet on multiple chains to onboard players pretty easily. So it's something that, I checked it out if y'all want to look at it. But I think it's anywhere that we can create less friction for people that are playing something, maybe don't have a wallet and need to get one. It just seemed like a really good pathway forward. So that's something that we're deeply looking into. Yeah, Paper.xyz. So, any tools like that I'm super keen on. It's just like, what can we reduce friction for the players on? Other than that, for us on Vrumble, we have our Vrumblers minting live now, which are our premium characters. They already start off with mystical powers. You can stake them in the dojo and spar and such. You can also crystallize with them. We also have Wrist Sparkles, which are another NFT that we're minting that you can use to kind of anoint your already existing NFTs and give them mystical powers on chain, which is really great because you can then keep on battling with them and keep on raising their powers over time. And then if you maybe sell that NFT later, the mystical powers go with it. So that next person that buys that NFT from you will have those mystical powers that were imbued by our Rift Sparkle. So those are kind of the two things that we're minting right now. Other than that, please keep posted on vrumble.io. We have, we're coming out with our mobile game really soon. So that's kind of the show for us. But pretty hyped about it. Definitely, y'all should check out paper.xyz. I think it's a really interesting thing from a developer standpoint. But yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to drop in. Thanks, man.
Awesome. That is some evening reading to catch up on some of those things for me. I'm going to be watching them in closely, so I'm pumped for that. Thanks so much, Benji. Christina, I saw you jump up onto the stage. We want to hear from you. What's happening? Any developments over in Arcade Galaxy? Anything you got your eye on?
Yeah, so we're actually launching our alpha testing end of this month. So we encourage everyone to kind of jump on and try to test our game. And one of the things that we really want to test it out is to kind of onboard a lot of Web2 gamers. Since our games is really focusing on small, fun games, we're trying to make it more user-friendly in terms of the interface so people can get familiar with like the Web2 space. So one thing we're doing is that we're actually using like wallets as our user profile. So everyone who plays our game will have to have some type of crypto wallets. And I think that's like an entryway for Web2 people to kind of get into Web3 without having a lot of concerns since it's only a gaming profile. And then that's a lot of things that we're trying to do within our games, like little educational pieces on Web3. And then we're holding off on all of our token launches until the market gets better. So I think there's a lot of time for the Web2 gamers to kind of get familiar with the Web3 ecosystem. And we really want to build that into our game. Nick, do you want to add on the alpha testing information?
Yeah, I just wanted to mention one more time, since a lot more people have joined. If you guys are interested in signing up for our alpha gaming testing, I would encourage you to just click on our profile, click on the link in our bio, and then it's the first link there if you'd like to sign up. We're closing the alpha testing signups Sunday night, so make sure to do that and come check it out. We're really excited for you guys to see what we've built.
Someone call the police because I'm too bullish. Nice. Awesome, guys.
Yeah, and all the alpha testers will get airdrop some kind of like in-game NFTs that we're going to be using later on, because a big part of our game is really encouraging user-generated content. So you will be able to monetize our creation within the game, which is really fun because that's what we've been doing the whole time when we're playing games. And now we can actually monetize it, which I think is really exciting.
100%. So definitely want to check out. Caesar, we haven't heard from you. Anything that's on your eye? I know there's some amazing developments over at Heroes of NFT and your metaverse, but I don't know if you wanted to highlight anything.
Actually, thanks for the question. What I can highlight about our project is that, first of all, we are very focusing on right now our metaverse. We believe that metaverse is the crucial part of GameFi economics, tokenomics. Without a strong metaverse connection with GameFi, we don't think that GameFi can produce a strong tokenomics. So, as Heroes of NFT, currently we are releasing our metaverse and sharing our, let's say, metaverse design, metaverse buildings, metaverse places, and I believe that we are one of the pioneers in space right now, especially for the Avalanche ecosystem. And our aim is that when we finish the release of the metaverse, we are going to have a huge impact in the space with both for crypto projects and for non-crypto projects, because we want our metaverse to be the hub of the Avalanche ecosystem in the metaverse sense. And I believe that GameFi projects can, other GameFi projects can also use this metaverse as their, let's say, metaverse, because we want it for both multi-chain and for let's say, projects, I can say, yes.
Love it. I appreciate that. Always appreciate people who are pioneering stuff. It's not an easy path. I guess it brings up quite an interesting question. I'd be keen to hear other people's thoughts on metaverse and play to earn and what they think the kind of link is, because I think lots of those terms get thrown around a lot without maybe such a clear understanding in the space of what they mean, how interconnected are they mutually exclusive? I don't know if some people have some thoughts on that.
Can you say that one more time? Sorry, it cut out for me.
I was just saying what people's thoughts are on metaverse and play to earn, and are they mutually exclusive? What do people feel like they need to be together? Do you need a metaverse with play to earn, or how do people view that?
I mean, I think, what Brendan was saying a little bit, kind of metaverse is like to me, it's kind of any way that you are connecting with people in a network. That's kind of what metaverse kind of feels to me, so like, even when you're like on AIM or IRC back in the day, and now, there's so many chat apps that you can do, that's where you're kind of creating this story together. And so I feel like that's always going to exist. I think the play to earn stuff, the way that you can build within these metaverse, you can build these, in these communication systems, you can build a economic model that people can kind of play around with and, be risky with, right? Like that's really what's happening, is people are being a little bit risky, where they're being like, like all games, there's winners and losers, right? So you're going to get in there, you're going to put in some effort, you're going to explore whatever thing you're exploring, and maybe get some token or maybe not get some token. And that is what that economic system might be. And maybe that economic system is built correctly, so that's sustainable, or maybe it's just going to fall off a cliff in 2 weeks. I've participated in several of those, and on either side of economic systems that work and don't work. So I think they can maybe be connected. I don't think you necessarily need a communication or network, of individuals talking with each other, which would kind of be, to me, what the metaverse is, to make a play to earn game happen. I think definitely the people talking with each other definitely like pushes the economic system to be more and more popular. So you bring in more and more players into that play to earn game. And so maybe the metaverse kind of bolsters user engagement. That maybe be a thing that it does. Some thoughts on that?
Benji, you and I, we touched on, the metaverse before. Like, the metaverse has been around forever, and, with blockchain technology, it's just further engagement up on something that already exists in my mind. In regards to play-to-earn games, like, I do see where your point is. Like, if it's not managed well, like, these systems can be quite abusive on the economy behind the game. But at the same time, we need innovators to be brave enough to kind of try and tackle the problem and build good games. We would love to have a decentralized economy all through the game development to allow indie studios opportunities. But at the same time, everything also needs to be done one step at a time. And unfortunately, like, certain games, in order for them to be fun, parts of the game actually need to be centralized. And I think that's okay, as long as the games do deliver that primary value proposition of being entertaining. So I guess the reins kind of lie within the game developers to kind of understand what the space really lacks. And hopefully, like, to all the developers out there, if you guys need transparency and understanding what's available in the landscape, it's very, like, all the information is there to show what has not worked. It's not to say 2 token models don't work or 1 token models don't work. We can't be that quick into jumping into these conclusions. At the same time, we should be learning from history and not be stubborn, but also try and break away and develop something truly with passion. And I think there's definitely an opportunity here for a true pioneer to kind of emerge. The opportunity definitely exists. It's just, how do you build a system that's complete. Maybe right now no system will be complete, but like you mentioned earlier, putting levers in controlling the populations, putting levers in controlling some elements where that can possibly break these games and break these economies, I think that's extremely important.
100%. So that's sort of great. I've just got a really hard stop at 6 p.m. So that kind of brings us to the end. Thank you so much for all of our panelists and people contributing and taking time out of your Friday to hop on and have a chat. I think it was really exciting to see, you know, some of the blockers, but also some of the opportunity that's coming up, not just in the AVAX space, but also in the wider blockchain GameFi arena. If you're in London in September, we'll be at a booth in Zebu Live, 22nd and 23rd of September in London. Come by, say hi. We'd love to have a coffee, maybe a pint. But thanks everyone for popping on and listening, and thanks everyone for contributing. It's been awesome. Enjoy the rest of your
Thank you
weekend.
very much for having us. Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Cheers,
Have a good
guys.
weekend, everybody.
Thanks for the meeting, guys.
Thank you all, guys. It was amazing. Thank you.